I don't normally make these type of videos, but there's a certain topic this week that has been catching fire. And since it's in the BMW niche and I primarily make BMW content, I figured like I needed to do this. If you're unaware of what's going on, essentially it has to do with DME unlocks for BMW models with a production date of post-June 2020. BMW models with a production date prior to that date can actually be unlocked here in the United States, and there's a few companies that offer that service. For post-June 2020 cars, there's really only been one way the last few years to get that DME unlocked so you can tune the car, and that is shipping your DME overseas to Finland to a company called Femto, and they would provide the service of unlocking the DME to whichever tuning platform you decide to go with. We actually partnered with Europe Performance Center because they have a person that actually flies all the way to Finland and hand delivers the DME. It was no secret that those guys at Femto essentially ran a monopoly the last few years, where they're the only ones that offer this service that nobody seemed to be able to figure out. You know, they charged whatever they wanted to charge, and you couldn't really do much about it because they were the only choice. I could only imagine how much money they've made the last few years being the sole option for that service. The one thing that's been absolutely insane is that, 5 years later and nobody's figured out how to do this in the United States. I'm sure most people thought that we would have cracked the code by now. Well, recently a company called Autotuner entered the chat and offered a new way to unlock these DMEs, which required you to not only uninstall the DME and disconnect it from your car, but they required you to open the DME with instructions that they provided, which is kind of sketch, and then ship it out to them in Europe and pay the price of 250 euros, plus the cost to ship it there and return it. Autotuner really caught a lot of people's attention. It was shared all over social media. I've seen a few YouTube videos about it. And what caught a lot of people's attention was the price point. They were essentially offering their service for more than half the price of what Femto charges. The cost for Femto can vary depending on who you go through, but if you go based on their website, they charge around 600 euros starting. It goes up from there based on whatever options you decide to select, plus the cost of shipping the DME there and shipping it back. Essentially, both options require you to ship your car's DME overseas to a different country. One charges less, but requires you to open up your car's DME, and then the other company charges more, but doesn't require to open the DME. All that, and we still didn't have an option to unlock these DMEs here in the United States. But then this week happened, and things got really, really spicy. Earlier this week, Kies Motorsport broke the mother effing internet and announced that they now unlock post-June 2020 DMEs in-house in New Jersey at their facility. And check this out, they offered a same-day turnaround for local customers that can literally go in there in the morning, drop off their DME, and pick it up a few hours later, and you're good to tune your car. I mean, that was incredible. Not only were you able to keep the DME here stateside, but according to Kies Motorsport, they didn't open the DME at all. I mean, that was some banger news. Not only does your DME stay here in the United States stateside and doesn't have to go overseas, but according to Kies Motorsport, they didn't have to open your DME at all. I remember when I first saw their post and it got shared to me, I temporarily freaked out and I stopped what I was doing. Honestly, I can't even tell you guys what I was doing at the time because this news was absolutely major. I was really happy for a couple of reasons. One, I mean, after years of waiting, this service was finally available in the United States. It would open up the floodgates to those that didn't trust the process of sending their DME to a different country. So you would have more people paying for the service to unlock their DME, tuning their car. And that would honestly help everybody that's in my industry that sells car parts, performance stuff, and all. It would open up a completely new demographic of people. The second reason I was extremely happy is because I was just happy for Brian at Kies Motorsport and his team. If there was one company that deserved to be the very first one to offer this option to all of us here in the United States, it's definitely them. Also, before you guys decide to leave and hit up Kies Motorsport so you guys can get your DME unlocked, I want you guys to continue watching the rest of this video because it does not have a fairy tale ending, unfortunately. That post they made caught traction instantly. I could only imagine what their phone call lines and their email looked like after that, because we're talking about within a few hours they had over 10,000 shares just on their Instagram post. And that doesn't even include the thousands of shares, likes, and interactions across all their social media platforms. It's unfortunately that they didn't get to make the YouTube video, which I'm sure that was in the works because, again, this doesn't have a fairy tale ending, unfortunately. So many people jumped aboard and went and paid Kies Motorsport to get their DME unlocked. I mean, Brian from Kies Motorsport was updating a lot of us in stories and stuff and saying that they're pretty much very busy with the service and they were doing very well. At the same time, there were probably even more people that were very upset about their announcement. Not because it's now available in the US, but more so the price point that the guys at Kies Motorsport decided to implement on the service. Their price for an unlock only started at around $1,800 and it just went up from there depending on whether you had an M car or you had, you know, 1 or 2 DMEs. There was outrage everywhere. Every social media BMW group was sharing the Kies Motorsport news. And a lot of people kept commenting the same thing about the price being too high and about being greedy and about missing an opportunity to captivate 100% of the market share, put Femto out of business. It was really nasty in the comment section. And all credit to whoever is on social media from the Kies team. They were replying to most comments and explaining where they were coming from. Their selling point was, well, 1, your DME stays in the United States, which is a safer transit when you're shipping it. And 2, it didn't require to open the DME in order to get the unlock done. People were still outraged by it because they couldn't figure out why they would charge so much when Femto was charging what, like half of what they were charging here in the United States. So many people were saying, I'm just gonna continue my business with Femto because it's cheaper, and you literally only have to wait, you know, maybe like a week more to get your DME back versus shipping it to New Jersey. People couldn't justify paying nearly double the price to keep it here in the States versus just shipping it to Finland. Credit to the team at Kies, they replied to a lot of the comments and pretty much saying, listen, if we could slash the prices, we would. Why wouldn't they want 100% market share and essentially make all the other options obsolete? They just couldn't because of the amount of time and money that was invested to even bring this option to the United States for them to offer to everybody. I'm telling you, for the next couple of days, the news spread like wildfire everywhere about the Kies Motorsport unlock. Nobody really knew what the hell was going on and nobody really had answers. Like, how did Brian at Kies Motorsport get their hand on being able to do this? People are quick to speculate that, you know, Kies Motorsport was working with Femto and paying them per unlock or something like that, some sort of a secret partnership essentially, which honestly I don't think that's the case. I'm not gonna say why, but I don't think that was the case at all. Kies Motorsport continued to double down. They kept marketing the unlock service, made some tutorials on how to remove the DME, how to install it, made a reel about the service, talked a little bit on their story regarding, you know, appointments, turnaround times and stuff like that. And it was just getting shared everywhere. I couldn't go anywhere on social media without seeing some sort of a repost that was talking about this information. Shares just kept compounding, comments, engagement, speculation, drama, everything. And I'm sure the team at Kies had a hard time the last couple of days dealing with that, but they've probably made a good amount of money just with all the demand that they were getting. And then this past Friday morning, all hell broke loose. Autotuner posted a video on their Instagram channel that announced that they can now unlock post-June 2020 DMEs without having to open them. And the service for the price will remain the same at 250 euros. I quickly reached out to them and asked them a few questions and see if they can clarify some things. I pretty much had 3 questions for them. The first question being, what made you want to change up the process, which is, you know, going from having to open the DME to not having to open it. The second question was, considering you guys are doing unlocks for considerably less than the other options, what tuning platform would work with your unlock service? MHD, boot mod, Ecutech. The third question was, will you offer remote services or give dealers access to have the ability to unlock DMEs in-house in the future? And then I kind of finished off the message by saying, any more information you'd like to share, I'd love to include it in the video. I didn't get a reply, which honestly I'm not surprised. And they did invite me to their Instagram group, which kind of, I guess, gave a basic breakdown of what's publicly available as far as information to the unlock. So I had some information which says 2020 Plus now works without opening the ECU. Price remains at 250 euro with no change to our service fees. We do reserve the right to open the ECU if needed and close it afterwards. My guess is if somebody decides to install some sort of a sniffer to steal, I guess the way how they're making the whole magic happen. And because good news never comes alone, you can now order multiple remote unlocks in a single purchase. Stay tuned to discover our upcoming new features. Doesn't seem like these guys are slowing down, and they're going to continue to innovate and bring everybody new features. Honestly, I was really interested in finding out whether their unlocks would work with a lot of the major tuning platforms, MHD, Bootmod, EcuTech. I couldn't really get that answer directly from them, but I seen some people speculating and asking questions in the comment sections where some people were like, yeah, it works with MHD, MG Flasher and all that stuff. But you know, it's comments with people that have sources, trust me, bro. So it took about an hour or two to try to do as much digging as I possibly could. And I found a Facebook group where somebody asked the question about MHD being compatible with the Autotuner unlock, and the owner of MHD actually replied and confirmed that MHD does work with their unlock, which is massive. MHD owner Marshall commented, MHD has support, yes. It required a bit of integration, so I can't talk for others. Essentially, he can't talk, you know, for EcuTech or Bootmod, but it seems like MHD worked with Autotuner to get MHD integrated and as an option for a tuning platform when unlocking your DME with them. A few people did comment saying that EcuTech would work also with Autotuner, but I'm not entirely sure. I can't confirm that. Also, a very interesting thing that I read about on the Autotuner website when trying to research some information to include in this video, their unlock is like a full unlock. Essentially, if you get the service done by them and you get the DME back, and for whatever reason you go to BMW and they update the software on the DME and it gets locked, you don't have to send it back out to them. You can actually bench unlock it. Here's the catch. You got to use Autotuner's tools to bench unlock it, but you don't have to send it back to them, which I don't know how much of a pro that is, because you have to buy their proprietary tools to bench unlock it. But I guess if you do that once, then no matter what, you don't ever have to send it back to them in Europe. It's so crazy to think about that now Femto, which essentially had no competition, has two competitors all of a sudden, Autotuner and Kies Motorsport. It's wild. But wait, there's more. Things get even crazier. I think Femto's had enough and decided to post this on their Instagram channel. Full bench unlock is coming soon for any tool, with the caption that says, stay tuned. Within 12 hours, over 7,000 shares. And a bunch of comments are just asking a bunch of questions because it's so vague that nobody knows what they mean. At this point, people are trying to figure out whether, you know, you can bench unlock these here in the United States without having to ship them, or you have to ship them and then it becomes a full unlock, or what the hell's going on. Femto started replying to some of the comments, one of them in particular saying, wow, that's a lot of questions. We simply decided that our users shouldn't spend a ton of money on other expensive bench tools when there are plenty of other cheaper ones available. That kind of left me with more questions than answers. And then a viewer of mine sent me a screenshot after they asked Femto a question to elaborate on this new DME bench unlock. The screenshot read, hello, you'll still need to remove the ECU and send it to us. Send it once and you'll get the ability to unlock it permanently using existing bench tools. You'll be able to use any bench tools, which are often cheaper than AT. So you won't have to spend a lot on their tools. So this is much more cost effective. We won't be able to provide more detailed answer until Monday. Sounds like we need to mark Monday on our calendars, as Femto is going to release some more information on this new service. So essentially what Femto is saying, if I'm understanding this correctly, is that they're going to be offering essentially the same service that Autotuner is offering, where if you send them the DME to get unlocked, they fully unlock it. So once you get it back and let's say it gets relocked because of a dealer software update, you don't have to send your DME back to Femto. You would be able to use almost any bench unlock tool, not a proprietary one from Autotuner, which are normally very, very pricey. I can't confirm this, but I've seen some talk. I've been researching this a lot. It seems like even like the MHD bench unlock tool that essentially anybody can buy, you can use that to re-unlock a DME assuming it gets locked due to some sort of a dealer software update, which is absolutely freaking huge. So pretty much the selling point for Femto is if you do the unlock with them, if you ever need to bench unlock it because it got locked due to like a dealer update, you can use any bench unlock tool. Ones that are way cheaper than what Autotuner offers, which is crazy. So their fee to unlock the DME is more than Autotuner, but the solution going forward for bench unlock is actually cheaper if you do the Femto method versus the Autotuner one, which is cheaper up front, but more expensive if you have to do a bench unlock because you have to buy their proprietary tools. Interesting. Then things got very, very weird, which left me with a ton of questions. The combination of Femto's post and Autotuner's post triggered two things shortly afterwards. FP Automotive posted on their Instagram page, a company that's, I believe, here in Florida, the United States, that they now offer the service in-house to unlock BMW DMEs, production date post June 2020. So now it's not just Kies Motorsport, now it was also FP Automotive. But here's the crazy thing. Shortly after the Femto post, probably less than an hour later, that FP Automotive post talking about that they now offer the service to unlock these DMEs was taken down. It's no longer on their page. Yeah. Then a few hours later, Kies Motorsport posted a reel that honestly left me speechless. Here's what they said.
Earlier this week, we made an announcement that we are unlocking newer DMEs in the USA, but today I need to let you know we are canceling the service, and here's why. This week, I accidentally broke the internet when we announced that we were able to unlock the newer BMW DMEs, and we demonstrated it on multiple cars.
The reel is about 3 minutes long. I don't want to put the entire reel here on this video. To sum it up, according to Brian, the initial cost to be able to offer the service and the price they have to pay per unlock no longer made sense after Autotuner posted the fact that they can unlock DMEs without having to open them at such a low price, and then Femto posting some sort of a scheme with new features with their unlock service. Brian was very honest and pretty transparent in that reel, and honestly I felt bad for him. I could only imagine myself in his position where he was probably mega excited to have this service available in the United States, locally in New Jersey, and you know, after spending so much time and money to be able to, you know, have that option available to everyone, and then you're kind of forced to walk it all back, probably losing lots of money in the process. I feel for him. I'm just gonna be entirely honest with you guys as far as my thoughts. This entire situation is extremely bizarre. I just don't want to sit here and speculate. I'm not that type of guy to throw out some conspiracy theories and stuff like that. But I have talked to a lot of inside people. They're very familiar with pretty much all these companies, like really close to the situation. I just don't want to put out any information that I haven't been able to confirm with proof. Social media, man, they just love to clip things and just take things out of context, and then all of a sudden I stir up something that I wasn't supposed to stir up. I just find the situation just super weird. FP Automotive deletes their posts where they announced that they now unlock the DMEs just 30-40 minutes after the Femto post, and then a few hours later Kies Motorsports makes an executive decision to not offer the service anymore. It's like everything just happened so fast. I'm sure you guys all have a wild imagination and can probably think of what might have happened, but nobody really knows the facts. And for that reason, I don't want to speculate. We're pretty much back to two main choices to unlock our DMEs for post June 2020, that is. Autotuner and Femto. And again, we don't have anybody in the United States that offers the service. Bravo. Right back to square one. And I'm not talking bad about either companies. They're both very reputable. I'm glad that Autotuner now offers the service where you don't have to open the DME. That was the only question mark that I had about them. And then Femto now is just starting to offer new features as well, which is really cool. That's what happens when you have competition. Now you get more features and there's more reason to innovate. And in a way, we kind of have Kies Motorsports to thank. They kind of sacrificed a lot of money to try to offer this in the United States and create competition. Ended up backing out because it didn't make sense financially. But if it wasn't for them attempting to kind of change things, then maybe Autotuner and Femto would not be offering their new features, their lower price points, etc. So I guess, thank you, Kies Motorsport. So there's one last thing I want to talk to you guys about before I end the video. This hasn't been confirmed, but I feel like there's no reason for this person that told me to lie, especially with all the information they said they have. Essentially, they told me if I was wondering how the DME unlocking process made its way to the United States, it's apparently there's a guy from a different country that sent over his DME to Femto, installed some sort of a sniffer that hacked Femto, I guess, or recorded the process to unlock the DME or whatever code or key, whatever it is, and then started selling that information to companies here in the US. And apparently that's how some of these shops got a hold of this. I don't know, not 100% sure, and I'm also not allowed to share my source, but something to think about. I don't know. I think like this is gonna be a developing story and it's gonna get crazier in the next few weeks, but I'm just gonna put this video out today and I'll update you guys. If I decide to, because it's not the type of content I make, if I decide to, I'll update you guys with any more information that becomes available. Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, thanks for watching. Till next time.